Hello, I'm Ali Burns. I'm excited to be reviewing and testing out my new frying pan for camping. So I'll show you what I got first. I got this thing here because I didn't want to spend a fortune on the Jetboil skillet pan. So I bought this pan from Fire Maple, and you can already see the problem with this one. So I'll just stick this on the scales just for comparison later. 208 grams. So this pan I got, and pretty much day one, the very first time I used it, probably partly my fault, I managed to get a burnt spot in the middle. And that's basically, you know what it's a Sota Windmaster, quite a powerful stove. I obviously probably had it a little bit too high, burnt on the food, and then it burnt in the middle, and you can kind of see the heat area. So I had a look on Amazon, and this pan here seemed to get a lot of good reviews, and the reviews basically seemed to talk about it not having the problem that this pan had. It's got a kind of ring effect that we'll see in a minute. So it is on Amazon, it's branded as Lixada, but it's got a pretty cool package. It's Alocs, whatever, in China. So quite a funky design pan. Gas, ring. Not quite sure what that one is. No idea what that says. Could put that through maybe a translator maybe, but nice looking little box. And inside we have the pan. So this has basically got sorry. This has basically got a better non-stick from what I could see. And it's a different handle design, so there we go. The handles come out this way. It's quite sturdy. I've already actually used this, so I'm cheating a little bit. But as you can see from here, it's got a nice, it's like a flat surface. So this had a sort of the ribbed surface. But underneath, this is the main feature that it's got. It's got a ring design, sort of a ring goes all the way around, out the way. So hopefully that helps dissipate the heat throughout the pan. And it does feel quite nice and solid. The handle design is good. So that was about 208 grams. So what we've got here, 241. So not too much heavier. It's 40 grams or so. I can deal with that. It's like the weight of a chocolate bar. And in terms of size, it's quite similar. It was like a tiny bit smaller because I couldn't quite fit the same thing in it when I had it out. So this is not very accurate, like from outside to the outside, 19. A little bit bigger, but that's got a thicker thing in the end. So yeah, it's a tiny bit smaller, but you still cook the same amount of food. And as with most of these pans, it comes with the nice little stuff sack that goes in. So usually what I do, and the reason I know it's a little bit smaller is I used to put this oil thing in here, and you can see it doesn't quite fit in there, but I'm going to get a smaller one of these things anyway, so it's not a huge problem. I normally put in my 6-in-1 thing. I normally have some butter in there, travel soap, little knickknacks like that I put in it, and I stick it in the bag. But looking at the thing obviously is no use. We actually want to go and test it in the wild. So tonight I'm about to go to one of my favourite little wild camping spots near where I live. I'm going to take this thing out and we're going to heat up 2 different meals. We're going to have a meal cooked as a kind of hot pot meal, so just food that we're heating up in the pot, and then in the morning we're going to heat up a breakfast, so more as a frying pan. So without further ado, here we go, let's go to the woods. So here we are, exciting moment in a little micro adventure, about to try our new pot. So let's get set up. So as you I've seen earlier, my other pot didn't do so well. I burnt it straight away. And by the looks of the reviews online, this one here appears to have a much better heating up system in the bottom, like heating rings. So it looks quite thick. And also I'll be much more careful this time to make sure I don't blast the full heat as I did on another one. It's probably partly my fault, I ruined it so quick. But first impressions, comparing it to the previous one, completely different pot. The non-stick, you can see Looks quite impressive. And the bottom definitely feels more solid. The other one had these ridges, which may be fine if you're cooking sort of meat or whatever, but I think this looks more versatile. So we'll get out the Sota Windmaster, my stove of choice, and cook up my new favourite quick go-to meal combo. I'll just show you in a little second. So the Windmaster needs no introduction. It's a well-known stove, very popular. I do have a spare gas bottle, but I think we've got enough in here. Get that untight there. It is getting a bit dark, as you can see, so hopefully this is coming okay on the camera with the light, the artificial headlight. So here we go. We have flame. A little bit of oil. That'll give us a wee indication as well, maybe, of how well the heat's spreading. So yeah, it does feel nice, and feels nice and solid. The other one had a fold out handle that clipped over the top of the bottom. I think this one is sideways, but both seem to work well. It feels fairly sturdy. Yeah, it's not going to slip out your hands. It feels well made. So yeah, as I said, found these awesome things. Currently eating a plant-based diet, and these free and easy tins are about £2 UK pounds. And to go with it, you basically just grab yourself the microwave rice. So it's very convenient. Obviously this is heavier than one that you add water to, like a dehydrated meal. But I'm actually not near any water now, so I'd have to bring the water. So I think overall the weight, when you weigh an empty can, it's not a lot. So it's not a huge weight penalty at all. And they're very tasty. So you can see I've kind of burnt the oil a little bit there, have I? Or is it just the colour of it? That's maybe just the colour. Let's turn it down a little bit. This is one of the hard parts, is to know how low you can get away with it not turning off and not taking forever to cook. So what I've been doing is cooking and eating half at a time so that it doesn't go cold as I'm waiting. So there's half. Just keep stirring it quick, we don't want it to burn like this last one. This is another one of my favourite tools, the Trekmates 6-in-1 spork and knife. It's good basically having the two separate pieces. This thing does absolutely everything that you need it to do. Cook all the basic meals: spatula, drainer, knife for cutting open bread, obviously the spoon and the fork as well. It's just dead good, lightweight, and it's strong. I think it's got some kind of glass fibre in it as well, it's not just pure plastic. So that's looking good, sounding good. Add in some of the chilli. So, about half the can. Get that out of the way. And then basically with this thing you just stir it all together, keep it moving. But so far the first over the pot is seeming successful. Let's give ourselves a bit more heat. Yeah, so we can, the heat flame is audible, whereas before you couldn't really hear it. So let's see what kind of difference that makes. Now these tins themselves, they even say on them cooking instructions: empty in a saucepan and heat gently for 3 minutes. So they're designed, they're already cooked obviously, so you don't need long to cook them. And obviously the stove at home is a bit more powerful than the Windmaster, but I wouldn't be surprised. The Windmaster's pretty close at full blast. But I'm too scared at the moment to be blasting this thing full. Maybe I'll get braver, but no point if there's no need. So yeah, that's heating up quite nice. Again, the benefit of this thing is these are all pre-cooked. You're hopefully not going to get any food poisoning if we don't heat it up fully. You could eat it cold, I'm sure. Just a wee taste of how hot it is. Still a wee bit to go. But the pan, that's what we're here for. You can see the non-stick is doing its job. Just want to keep the thing moving. It's kind of more like stir-fry style cooking, where you don't want the food staying in the middle for too long, because there's definitely going to be a hot spot on the flame in this compared to the ring you've got at home. The gas ring at home is much more spread out underneath the pan, and also the pans at home are much thicker metal, which more ability to conduct the heat and spread it better. So we can't compare this pan to an actual indoor pan. This thing I think was about 205 grams it said, but sooner in the video I'd have weighed it on the scales. So give this another wee taste. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty tasty. It's quite hot now. So what I think we'll do is I will turn this pan off and I'll save you the video of me eating, and tomorrow morning we'll be trying to cook something different. We're making some plant-based bacon roll, so that will test its ability as a grill pan even though it's flat. We'll see how it copes with cooking up the bacon, as they call it. So there we go, first successful meal cooked. I will eat this and then I'll cook up the rest of it. I don't foresee any problems with the second half, but yeah, as you can see here actually, I've just, you know, if you let it cook for too long, things do start getting on it. So let's turn that off, and I will carefully not burn my knees on this pan, putting it on myself. That's really good. I mean, of course, if this was a fancy review, I'd have one of these FLIR heat cameras and we'd look under here and see the heat and see how it was spread out, but we're not doing that. It's just a practical review with the equipment that we've got camping. So, bye for now. For my second round, another thing just to show that with the four arm stand, it's super sturdy as well. It's a nice size for this, for the Sota Windmaster there. It's nice and grippy as well. The little round, the ring pattern on the bottom grabs quite nicely into these little spiky feet, so it doesn't slide about at all. So you can see here I'm actually having to sort of break this thing up quite violently. But again, as you can see, the stick, the non-stick, is doing its job. We've got the heat up quite hot. That down a little bit. Let's get the rest of the food in. This is, yeah, I highly recommend these meals. Obviously it tastes twice as good when you're hungry, you've taken them out to set up camp and it's way past dinner time, but I actually had one of them last night in the house just because I hadn't been for a proper shop, and it wasn't too bad. And there's a Thai green curry as well. There's a 3-bean chilli, And then there are two more, which I've completely forgot what they are. But I might put them up here if I'm not lazy. There we go, so try and get most stuff out I can out of the tin. And just keep mixing it together, stir fry style. And one of the features of the Soap Wind Master, it does actually have a regulator. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it means that as the gas runs out the bottle, it sort of self-adjusts itself, so it's got a constant flow of gas. So it makes it easier to cook when you're near the bottom of the bottle. It doesn't sort of go off. It tries to maintain the flow rate, even though the volume of the gas has gone down. I think that's why it's such a popular stove, as well as its wind mastering features. You can see like it's got a nice rim around there that keeps the wind away from the flame. Performs very well in windy conditions, but the conditions here are absolutely perfect. Really still, we're in a forest. There's like not a drop of wind around at all. Didn't even really need to peg the tent out much. So this is coming on nicely. Let's see how hot it is. Not bad, another minute or two. So I will leave you again and give you my final conclusion on how it copes with this kind of meal once I've had my dinner. Bye for now. And there we go. That was super delicious, and yep, first impression of this pot, absolutely brilliant. It's so much better than the last pot. I don't think, you know, even though if I had burnt the last pot, I think it would have burnt it pretty soon after if I'd, you know, I'm sure I was being careful. So Alocs since 1979. It's a different branded name on Amazon where I got it. Can't remember the exact name, but yeah, it's really good. It's not too heavy, but it's heavy enough to give you the nice radial heat. The riveting there seems pretty strong. That's the only thing, there's some rivets here that might start getting mucky if you don't clean it. But I'll show you now. Cool thing, we don't have water here, we're not a river, but I've got my water bottle. And what I do is, the little things you get in the sushi packets are perfect for taking enough washing up liquid for a couple of washes, and then you can refill this dead easy by just sticking that over the end of the thing. So a little bit of washing up liquid, a bit of water, and then I always take 2 pieces of plenty, one for the evening meal, one for the morning meal. Sometimes I take a third slice when I'm feeling extravagant. And then I use a magic sponge, chopped in half, as you do, saving all that weight. And then I just use this to clean the pan, so it's nice and clean in the morning. And hopefully, because of the non-stick nature, it's not going to be too tricky, which it is cleaning up nicely. So, like everything, water is precious, so I don't want to use too much water. So, just try and clean it with the water we've got, and then I'll be able to dry it up with the plenty sheet in a wee minute. So that's looking good, and then try and clean these guys while we're at it. Obviously I give everyone a thorough clean once I get back home as well, but it's a lot nicer having semi-clean cooking equipment for the morning. So that's that, and our wee spatula. There we go. Not bad. We'll give this a wee rinse later as well. So let's try and get all of the stuff away and get our sheet of plenty. And then look at that, it's as good as new. That's come up lovely. So only time will tell how long this non-stick lasts, and if I'll ever end up doing the daft thing I did with Aeropress and create a hotspot and burn food onto the surface of the pan. But initial impressions from its first test are very good, and we will get to test tomorrow when we're cooking the bacon. We needn't use the surface of the pan. I'll maybe be able to see how well it's cooking at the edges and stuff, so that'll be exciting. So I will leave you for now while I give this more thorough dry and dry these things up. So I will see you in a few moments in the morning. Right, we're going to have a wee explore, see if there's any firewood. I forgot to bring paper as a fire starter. I've got some of my own firewood because I don't want to be using up all of this stuff in the forest, but maybe only if there is something that's no use to the insects, we'll take something. Stuff like that's pretty damp. I don't know if we'd actually get that going. It'd take too long to dry off in the fire. Yeah, I don't really think we're gonna find too much, and I don't want to get too lost. Not that we're in a big forest. Right, when you forget your paper to start your fire, I'm just wondering if this would do the job instead. So we're doing the good old flappy technique. Watch this. I think it's gone. Give it some oxygen and heat up the embers. There we go, we get some flame again. It's a shame I didn't bring a big log. Right, here's something I prepared earlier. Now ready to test the next part of the pot. So I've already got up. I've laid out all my stuff to make life easy, because in the morning everything gets very confusing until I've had my coffee. So first thing I've done is lay everything up. So as you can see, we've got an awesome camp in the woods, and now we're going to make coffee and a fake and roll. So the first step is to get grinding the coffee. Porlex Mini in Japan. So stick your coffee in here. We'll see how much we can multitask. Something very satisfying about the feeling of the crunch of the coffee beans. It's just about there. So that is our coffee. So we need to get our water on. Fire maple, the fake jet boil as I like to call it. It's got a big heavy unit, which is fine when you're taking it in the car or whatever, but it was a bit heavy set up. So I thought I'd buy the Soto Windmaster, which is a better overall stove, and it still does a great job fitting underneath it. It doesn't quite integrate the same, but it seems to boil water pretty fast, as we'll see in a minute. Plus it's quite nice how with a small gas bottle you can store it all in the top as well, and then you don't forget any part of your setup. So it's quite a nice pot. It's quite heavy. I've looked at trying to buy a similar pan with a heat exchanger or something like that. So we don't want too much water. Coffee, just enough for the. I'll do for now. And we'll go full blast. I guess this is a test of example of a similar pan made of a similar material, full blast heat, and it doesn't really damage it. Just grab the milk. So I use oat milk from a coffee. I bought this thermos flask in Sainsbury's. It's a super lightweight flask, so that comes in quite handy to keep the milk nice and cold. But as you can see, I mean, that's it boiling already. We didn't have a lot of water there, but that was like no time at all. So what we'll do is, the longer we leave this to percolate, the better. So we can get the coffee on the go. Now I use a little metal filter, mostly just so that I don't need to worry about not forgetting the paper filters. I do mean to bring some paper filters as well, but having the metal filter there in at all times means it doesn't matter if you forget the paper filters, which I have. And I don't mind the taste of the metal ones either. So we get our freshly ground coffee. That smells good. And with the metal filter we have to do the inverted method on the Aeropress. So give it a shake, just level. There we go, that's a perfect amount of water. Like so. Give it a little stir. Now the Aeropress travel or compact, whatever one it's called, it comes with a wee stirring spoon and like a stirring paddle and a spoon, but that's just extra weight. Essentially you just need to use your spoon like that. So we'll give that a stir. I'll probably just pop this on just so the little insects don't climb in. So, and then we'll leave that to the side and get on with the main part of what we're doing here, which is testing this pan out for frying up some fake bacon. So I can show you my wonderful 6-in-1 set in action. We're going to just roll out the bag. So here we have the serrated edge, the roll with no slice in it yet. And you can see there, no problem at all. Nice clean edge, nice clean cut. So, and then what we'll do, let's get the butter in here just now. This is some plant-based spread. I guess here you're going to see one problem, it's not the best for getting things out there. I could use the handle, but I'll get mess everywhere, so I can live with that. I think I've got enough here anyway. But let's get some bacon on the go. That's what we've all been waiting for. So put that to the side. And I've also got a little sachet of brown sauce. This is a good tip as well whenever you're out and about in restaurants and they give you extra sachets. Just take one home. And my little travel salt and pepper as well. There's some seasoning. Yeah, this little table is amazing actually. So we will definitely want our spray. Now I've replaced the sunflower oil with a different kind of oil in here, so maybe it's not spraying quite the same kind of mist. but it does the job. So we won't go too high. There's our pan and our plant-based bacon. There we go. So we can see there, yep, all sizzling away, very satisfying. Problem with cooking things like bacon and fake bacon, that they're so flat that they tend to cool down pretty quick. So I'll get this quite warm, and by the time I get it in my roll, start eating it, it'll go a bit cold. But again, this little spatch is dead handy, as you can see, does the job. So day 2 with the pan, breakfast as a frying pan. It looks like it's doing a great job. Look at that, you can see it cooking all in the corner here, no problem. Cooking evenly, so that heat is definitely distributed around the pan very well. There's no burn marks or anything. You see that what the flame's set to, we're not having any burning issues, and I'm sticking to the pan. See, that's a big success. So let's turn off the heat. It's going to be quite a stuffed roll here. There you go, we see we've got a little wee bit of, I'd like to say char grilled, but yeah, that's burnt. Bacon. Take advantage of our acquired brown sauce, like so. And a little bit of pepper. This is a tasty roll. Well, we'll see. Not bad at all. I will say the roll's been in the fridge for a few days, so not the softest roll, but the bacon, or the bacon, whatever you want to call it, tastes good. Yeah, that's delicious. Let me get the milk on the go. Have some coffee with this. Put it all in. I measured it out last night. A bit more milk than I normally use, but what the hell, let's go for it. And see if it's in the cup. Always use a lid, save gas, stick that on there. Grab a little photo. So this milk, it tends to hit a point and it all starts bubbling up, but it still can do with getting cooked a little bit further. So I normally do that, I just turn the heat down, heat it gently for a bit. There we go, we see it. That's it going up, just lift it off the heat. Turn it down. Now, my secret weapon for the coffee was this little 3-speeded milk frother. Oops, keep my eye on the milk. To give us a latte experience. So we want to aerate it at first, let it get some bubbles in there, but then we want to submerge this thing under the milk and get it spinning around for a while. I watched the video. At first I was doing it too quick, so apparently this is the secret. Take longer to have it fully submerged. Similar to when we're steaming the milk, you want to get the air in as fast as possible, and then you want to then circulate that milk, circulate the bubbles through the milk. Now, you're never going to get this nice microfoam consistency you do from a steamer, but what you do get is a nice fluffy milk experience, better than just regular flat unwhirled milk. So I think the end result's worth it. So as you can see, the volume is much greater now. The thing's halfway up the pan now. And I'm just trying to circulate. Let's get the Aeropress. Now that's been percolating for a while. The longer it's there, the more time it's got to infuse with the coffee, so this should be a very tasty, strong coffee now. So the inverted Aeropress method, as you can imagine, is upside down. Flip that over, push it down. Try not to get the cup flying off. There we go, the satisfying squeeze at the end. Now back up this a little bit, stops the liquid going everywhere, gets a little vacuum, put that to the side. So first up, let's just test the coffee. Nice, that's nice and strong. Now we have our milk. So, I keep calling it latte, it's cappuccino really, isn't it? It's quite hard to get anything that's not so foamy. If I wanted, I could scoop off some of that milk, but I think that's just a waste of resource. I don't really care that it's a bit frothy. So there won't be any latte art here, but we'll get a lovely foamy milk. What I might actually do, since that's ridiculous, is just give it a little bit of a stir as well. Stir up some of that coffee. Here we go, freshly ground coffee. Delicious. And our plant-based bacon roll. Priceless. So yeah, in conclusion, this pan has done a great job. The non-stick has done its job. The ring design seems to be helping dissipate the heat throughout the pan, and it's a great purchase. I thoroughly recommend it. I should not have bought the first one, and the price of this one, which is almost £30, the first one about 20, is 50 quid. I could have ended up just buying the jet boil pan, which I assume is pretty good quality, but it was a lot of money. That's the reason why I bought the first one in the first place. I didn't want to waste so much money on a pan. But if I'd gone for this one first, that would have been much more satisfying. So don't buy that first one I bought. Definitely recommend buying this one if you're into this kind of cooking. It will do a good job for you. So I will go now and finish my coffee and roll, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.